Welcome, welcome, welcome. Hey, Liz, how are you doing today?
I'm doing great, Russ. How are you?
Not,
So you're
not too bad, not too bad. I'm here in Texas, so I'm getting closer, so we're out and about,
we're
hanging out on the
new
ranch today.
direction. Yep, hanging out on the range. Yep, that's good. That's good. So you're still about 5 hours south of Dallas, but we're going to make it work. We're going to come down there and see you first at the library conference in Austin, just north of San Antonio, and then we'll be coming back up here to Dallas to do some other work. So
Hmm.
but today we're talking author adventure, the art and business of publishing. And as you know, on this show, we always like to share our 5 secrets, which are creating your book, um, publishing your book, launching your book, marketing your book, and distributing your book. And so we always want to share a tip with you or some strategy that we know that authors use to help them be more successful. So Russ is going to share our strategy and our tip today. And then we're very excited. We're going to be talking with children's author Bobo Nikce, and this is episode 32. So we can't wait to have this conversation because he's got a really unique background and experience, and maybe a different approach than some of our other authors that we've talked to.
And it'll be fun and exciting, and I look forward to it. And what we all look forward to often, Liz, is marketing our book. You know, we've spent so much time, energy, and effort getting this book, in place, written down, the manuscript produced. We got some editing in place. And a lot of times we get really excited about just get it out there, just rush and just publish this right now. And a lot of times it's often nice when you're doing the marketing to sit back and just kind of, walk away from it for a second, come back with a fresh set of eyes and see what other marketing ideas come up. Because when you're in the writing mode of a book or you're in the editing mode of the book, you're looking at different things. You're not looking at the marketing aspect.
Right.
And sometimes what we can do is we can see something new and exciting that our audience wants to find out about it. Since we're producing it, we're thinking of from the lens of, creating the outcome. And it's not always looking at it from the look and the feel of what the audience is searching for. So step away from it for a bit, come back with fresh eyes and a new perspective on it, and look at it from your audience perspective. When you think about marketing, think about what the audience wants to learn about this content and this creative process that you've spent so much time and energy on, and make sure that you have a look and a feel for what the audience is looking for and searching for. And that way you can actually pick up some new tips and new ideas to market your book. And I think it's important for us to think about that as we move forward. Liz, anything else you want to add to that equation?
No, I think that's great. I think that is a big part. I mean, maybe the only last thing is when you see something of somebody else's, some other author that's marketing and you like it, take a picture of that. Yeah,
Yeah.
screen capture it or take a picture, or maybe it's an ad, maybe it's a social media post, maybe it's some kind of promotion. It may even be some actual hard copy, like a poster or a bookmark or something.
Mhm.
And start a file.
Yeah.
Start a file of things you like and marketing strategies that have caught your attention. Because if it caught your attention, it probably caught somebody else's attention, and maybe that's something you could modify and consider for your own.
Yeah. Use it as inspiration. Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, would you like to introduce our guest today?
I would. I would. So very delighted to be having our guest that's on today. This is Bobo Nikce. Bobo is a good friend. We've been working together for a few years. I was lucky enough to meet him and his lovely wife, Linda, 4 or 5 years ago. And we've just had a great time together getting to know each other. And so, Bobo, welcome to the show. We're so excited to have you today.
I'm honored to be with you guys.
Yeah, so we usually kind of start with, how did you start writing? Did you like to write when you were younger, or is this something you kind of came to in your later life now that you're kind of retired and you got a little bit more time? How did that writing happen?
Well, writing happened talking to my wife. about my history, where I came from and stuff. So she's really interested in my story of how was I grow up and what I grew up. So she said, "Why don't you write it up? Everybody tell me." So I started writing like my memoirs,
Uh-huh.
and she and I writing and so 2019. She said, "How's you coming with the memoirs?" I said, "I don't write memoirs." "What do you mean? I wrote the children's books." So I got like 4 or 5 children's books already written. She's so kind of upset, devastated. What happened? I said, "Well, my mind clicked away from the memoirs, and I start thinking about children. And I love children. I got a 5, Linda got a 2. We have 7 children, 8 grandchildren. So I always loved children. I remember telling Linda, as I was a young boy growing up in Montenegro, the children come from neighborhood and sleeping in my room. So I come home, I say, "Mom, what is this?" Then she said, "Don't wake come up, let us sleep." I said, "Well," she said, "you can sleep on the floor, don't worry about it."
So there are always kids around taking up your space, huh? Yeah, yeah, that's good. That's good. That's fun. So obviously, y'all can tell that Bobo didn't necessarily grow up here in the United States like some of our authors. So he's actually originally from Montenegro, and that was under Yugoslavian communist rule when he was younger. And so that's kind of the memoir that he was been writing about, and he's continuing that now. But in the meantime, he wrote these, what, 10? Is it 10 children's books I think you got, or is it more than that?
Yes.
Well, I brought a few to the party today, so I just wanted to bring those up, Liz, so we could actually share a few of them. There Bobo is with the moon with the crooked smile. Let me go through these, Bobo, and maybe we can come back and talk about each one, because I think it's important. And there we go, the moon with the crooked smile. I love that title. And I Love Clouds, #1 bestseller. And the next one is I Want to Catch the Clouds, which is I love the butterfly in the title there. And then I Went to the Zoo to See Woo. And there's your lovely bride, Linda, and you hanging out, and some books in the background and some things going on. So let's talk about these. What do you have to say about the moon with the crooked smile?
Yeah, what inspired you to write this book? Because it's a really fun little book.
Well, let me just briefly say about the first book I wrote. That's a Mad Pat and a Cat.
Oh,
and
that's right.
Yeah, my wife said to me, "You can be a Dr. Seuss." I say, "I'm not Dr. Seuss. It's just a rhyme hit me in it." So one day, just thinking about it and sitting, I saw the moon. I said, "Look at that," to myself, "Look at the moon." So I say, "Oh, I can write the book." And moon kind of responded to me with a crooked smile. I said, "Oh, where's that?" So I put everything up together. So that's what the first book said. And it's nice story to children. I love children. So everything in my biography, you can see it, talk about children. So this book is beginning, and I start doing the rest of the books. And she said, "Okay, we're going to publish." So we start publishing book and after book.
I love that. You know,
Yeah,
it's interesting.
Go ahead, Joyce.
You know, it's interesting to see how you actually transcribe the books, because you write and you speak, and you've been on television, you've been on the news in Montenegro, but when you're publishing a book, you translate it over to Linda, and then she takes that transcript and creates it in English. Is that am I hearing that correctly?
Yes, that's yeah. Yes, you're correct.
I love
You're
that.
absolutely right. I come in 20 years old, and I'm supposed to go on school education, but I found a job and I started making money. I say, "Hell with the school, I'm making money." So that's how the start about I write it English language with the Montenegro dialect. In other words, I tell Linda translating English, spelling, correcting, and stuff like that. I tell you that spelling is so despicable. When you say one thing, you write the other thing, that's bad. But that's me. I grew up in different countries, so that's the thing. So Linda is in charge of everything. I give her all my power to her. She's better. She's educated, very intelligent. She knows the stuff, so she can do the stuff.
I love that. I love that you make a great team, and I really appreciate that. So I love clouds. You want to share a little bit about this story?
Yes, in Hawaii, there's a clouds here every 5 minutes, different one. Rain comes, the back of the cloud is a blue sky, so comes in all different shape. So look like some animals look like a this and that. And I looking at the clouds and I say, wow, what a magic. I got a lot of pictures on my telephone taking the clouds. And I said to Linda a couple of times, I say, I think somebody think I'm nuts taking pictures of the clouds, but they're really beautiful, fluffy, like cotton, soft, white, all different shape. And I started writing and said, oh, here's my little girl can write a story about the clouds. She loved the clouds. She liked to see it, and she talking animals and everything about clouds and stuff like that.
Oh, it's beautiful. It's beautiful. And then we have the I want to catch the clouds. So
yeah. Mother, the little girl, I should say, parents live underneath the mountains. So she said to the mom, I want to go catch the clouds. And mom look at it, you have to climb, it's so high. Yeah, but look at the mountains, it's so high up. So she can climb the mountain, she's going. So she started going through the whole ordeal about catching the clouds and how the clouds talking to animals, asking why they don't like the clouds, what you like. And this is a story how children, in my opinion, love to hear that kind of stuff. What are you saying? How you say it? How you respond?
Yeah.
Well, she wants to go catch a cloud. She didn't catch a cloud.
She can catch a cloud.
But she talks to the birds and she talks to the frogs. The birds say, well, we don't know, but go talk to them. And you go talk to the bunny rabbits, and the bunny rabbits don't you go talk to the frogs. You go talk to the frogs. And so, you meet all of these wonderful animals too. And they're great illustrations, of all these different animals as the little girl goes, searching for these clouds, trying to catch these clouds, the butterflies you see. And so it's it's a really great story. And the other thing about all of these books is, we can kind of all relate. The moon is about two friends, it's friendship, and they're both looking at the moon. And the little boy is wondering if his friend at school is seeing the same moon that he's seeing. And yeah, she is, and then he wonders about the moon and the sun being friends like they're friends. Mm-hmm. And so, there's each one of these books has that up in the sky experience and that wonder and imagination, but it also, brings it back to either relationships or love or family or, or the environment. And so that's really cool how you've done that, Bobo. And I think children really do love these books for sure.
I remember reading books like this to my kids and really enjoying the interaction and the questions that come out of it. And there's always, kids are so curious, especially the younger ones. They're so curious about how things can happen. And so it's really amazing. So talk a little bit about, I went to the zoo to see Woo.
Well, that young boy heard Ben wants to go to the zoo, and he heard about Woo, the famous bird Woo. It's a Brazilian jungle and stuff like that, and they call it Woo because every time when he talking, birds say Woo, Woo, Woo. Some of the voices the child picked up, so he went to see the bird, and he see the thing and see the birds taking a bath and water bath and stuff like that. And he's thinking, he said, oh, that's the same thing like I going to take a shower and stuff like that. And he talking to parents and stuff and see the a lot of birds in the sand, fluffing tails and feathers and everything. Oh, that's like a me, and playing around and said like a me, my friends in school. So he combining everything what he did personal to his friends in school. So he was talking to friends and explaining how this is everything. And another friend, I think their name is Lila or Mila, something with them, one of the girls talking about bird, and they really cooked up and see that wonderful bird and wonderful imagination of the child. So that's really a wonderful story.
That's amazing. That's amazing. And, kids at the zoo are fun to watch as well because, there again, the curiosity and the astonishment that happens. You know, you take them. I remember going to the butterfly. The butterfly displays and watching the butterflies and everything, and watching the kids just get amazed at all of the different kinds of butterflies that were there. So this is a great book. So Liz, do you want to
Yeah, so the really fun thing about these books, like you say, is they're all about children. They all kind of have a lesson. They all appreciate nature and the things around us and the opportunity, to have those informative and educational conversations with the other kids, because they go to school talking about they went to the zoo and saw this bird. Well, the teacher gives them a book about birds,
Yeah.
So, if you can find things that kids like and give them books that about the subject they like, they'll read more. They'll do more. If they like cars, you give them something about cars. If they like animals, or dogs, give them a book about dogs. If they like horses, give them a book about horses, because then they'll get engaged with the literature and with reading and with, and have that curiosity and that imagination, I think. So, Bobo, of course, has a great imagination, as you can tell just by the covers of these books. And we would like you to go check those out. They're all available at Amazon. They're available on Ingram. So if you go into a bookstore, you can order these books, and they can get them delivered to your local bookstore. Barnes and Noble, you can go online and order. And you also can go to their website. So their website is BoboLin Media. So that's BoboLin Media, BoboLinMedia.com. As you can see, they've got a lot of supporting and motivational materials, inspiration, like they got t-shirts and mugs and posters. So maybe you're a school teacher, if you're an elementary teacher or a librarian, you want to get these books and have these books at your school or in your classroom as supplemental material for these kids and for these children, for sure. So, well, Bobo, what was the most fun thing for you about writing these stories?
Making for me, I want to hold children and just all over the world and grandchildren to be happy, to enjoy, to have a smile on their faces. When I see some first book when they came out, Moon with a Crooked Smile, I see kids reading and making a facial crooked smile like a moon. Because I chuckle up just to make me feel so good and happy and stuff like that. Briefly, I just want to tell you the story. Not too long ago, I go in Target store to buy something as a young father with a couple of kids walking by, and his son is like a baby, 8 years old, and walking behind him, and father turned around and said, "Are you going to be a good boy?" And he walked in and said, "I'm going to think about it." See, I was laughing inside. I usually, when I go to stores, I carry with me bookmarks because I give them some books and stuff like that. So this is what I like to see and hear it. So that's the thing I enjoyed when I see the kids with the parents negotiating things, buying things and stuff. So that's a great thing.
I love it. I love it. And didn't you have a neighbor? Didn't you have a neighbor come and knock on your door, a stranger?
Yeah, that's it. That's what happened in Wisconsin. Knock on the door, and he said, "Can I help you?" She said, "Can you sign the book?" And he got a book with the Moon with the Crooked Smile. I said, "Sure, I do." So I signed the book. He said, "Oh, thank you." I said, "Welcome." I never know who the individual is.
Yeah.
By now where I live in, that was very cool. I told Linda I was surprised. But yes, that's a wonderful thing.
Yeah,
it is a wonderful thing. Yeah.
Yeah, total strangers come up, but I think the school was down the street from where they lived in Wisconsin, and but now y'all are kind of y'all are doing the travel, the Sassy Senior travel thing, aren't you? So where are you at right now?
Right now we're in Hawaii. Beautiful weather, beautiful spring. They said the spring started the other day. I says, "There's a spring all the time here in Hawaii. The flowers growing all the time. You don't have it like Wisconsin or Dallas, in Texas. The leaves fall off. Everything's kind of everything's green. Everything's growing up. So I cannot. When I heard that first time, I really was couldn't explain to
Got
Linda.
confused. That's right. What are you talking about? We do
Yeah.
spring all the time, for sure. Well, for sure. So it's a lot different in Wisconsin, isn't it? Where you got snow and you're shoveling in the snow all the time. So I know y'all really love that. So and Bobo and Lindo, they made a plan, for how they wanted to spend this next chapter of their lives, and so we're gonna probably have to have them come back and talk about that
Yeah.
because that's kind of a whole different story. But we are living longer, and we do want to be able to do these things that we enjoy. And so I know you love children. I know you love the children's books and that opportunity to visit with folks. But tell us a little bit about your memoir, because you are working on that now, aren't you? And so that's basically maybe your early life, right? Over in Montenegro and Yugoslavia.
From first, like 7 years old, go through to age 20 before I came in United States. The second part are going to be the second book going to be United States. Yes, I grew up in Montenegro, and my father was anti-communist, and they don't do very good in a family who was anti-communist. So I was like a second-class citizen. Going on and I grew up with the people and my buddies that some of them fathers are coming, and they get all kinds of treats, the respect, schools, every money, it's completely different. My father, when I was growing up, I have $11 pension. $11, that's where we live, four of us. But we have a big house, so we rent a house and stuff like that. So there was a story how in school was doing, and I tell you, Linda, in the memoirs is too, same thing, third grade, we have a piece of baguette bread, piece of butter, and a coffee. It was a coffee latte. It's a latte, 50% milk, 50% coffee. And we mixed that with the sugar, so that's like that. So that was a breakfast. And for me, that was very good because I didn't have a breakfast home. So that was good. And one day, somebody came in school and he calling my name, Nikce. I stand up. You got to stand up right away. I stand up. Yes. He come in and grabbed me by the ear. I think he's going to pull my ear out. And he threw me outside the door and closed the door. He said, you cannot be there. So I don't know why and how, stuff like that. And certainly I was 9 years old. I crying outside. All my buddies come in. They said, Bobo, what happened? I said, I don't know. The guy come in. Who's the guy? I said, I don't have any idea. So finally my brother-in-laws find out, and they're all commies, very powerful people. So they found out the guy was gone. I never saw him rest of my education there.
Yeah.
Wow.
But he basically knew your family was not sympathetic to communism, and so, like you say, you didn't get the privileges, or you weren't supposed to have the privileges that some of the other kids had. Yeah.
Oh, sure, that's correct. That's
yeah, for sure. So, well, and your father had lived here in the United States, hadn't he? He had immigrated over and lived here and worked here, and then he went back home to, I guess, when his father died, to take care of his mother. And
that's correct too. But yeah, he came in just before World War I. So he was doing World War I. He went to the World War I war, and then he come back in the United States. He worked for Chrysler for over 25, 30 years. So in what I can see, and I heard from him, 38, my grandfather cut his 3 fingers with the axe.
Oh.
So to protect his grandson put the hand, what he was doing using axe, so instead of cutting his grandson hand, he cut his own hand. So that's 1930s or so, 38, I think 37. So he wrapped up the thing up, no medication, no doctor. So that thing took a year or so to get infected. If he dying, so they wrote him a letter to come before he died. So he did. In the meantime, in the United States, I have 4 kids, 3 boys and a girl, born in Detroit. So he took everybody back in the Montenegro to see his father. He passed away. Everything's cool. That's 1940 came in. World War II started. He could not go back. No place. War, nothing. 1947, he came in as a United States government policy to pick up all the citizens, take them back. So he did. They landed in a big strip, and they got a field in capital of Montenegro, Podgorica. He came in, everybody's there to leave, but he got a spy, communist spy. They say he's anti-communist. He cannot go. So they took my father in prison. They told my mother, "You can go there." My mom said, "How am I gonna go without him? I can go with all the kids and stuff like that." So they stayed. He went in prison for a month and then let her go. So that's hardest part for him to do that kind of stuff to him. He loved this country. He loved this country so much, and that's why I fell in love. I only know about this country since I was born. Everything is America. Everything.
Right. Your dad was always talking about it, wasn't he? And always encouraging you, wanting you to come. He wanted you to come and see and be here yourself. And so you actually came here in your 20s, right? And then and worked and learned, began to work and learn and learn the language and all of that kind of stuff. And so you spent most of your life here in the United States, didn't you? In the Northeast there?
Yeah.
Did you move to Milwaukee? Is that where you immigrated in, or did you move into Detroit?
No, Milwaukee. My older brother, lived in Milwaukee, so I lived with him for a year. Then I moved out and I got a job and stuff like that. But I was making a lot of money. First time in my life to have money.
Right. Yeah. So you're money too, like you say. And well, we're so glad that you in your retirement here, now that you retired, that you're writing these books, that you're writing your memoir. We'll be certainly excited to have you on again later once you've kind of got that done. I know that Linda is, looking at some agents, and we're looking at some film producers, because we know this is that your story is compelling, and that, like you say, people that haven't had their freedom taken away from them don't really understand, do they? I mean, we kind of take a lot for granted, don't we? And I'm certainly guilty of that myself. And so I appreciate that you would tell your story and share your story, so that people around the world know, and especially people here in the U.S., that they know that we shouldn't take some of these things for granted like we do, for sure.
It's a country. I don't think. This is a beautiful country, beautiful freedom. Everything got it here. My father told me in America, he said, "You work, you can be a multi-millionaire," and that's true. You got everything is open, but Americans, they got a good heart, and they want to give you everything and everybody, but they don't respect their own country. Once you see what your wonderful country is, how wonderful it is, love it and enjoy it.
It's beautiful. It's beautiful. Well, thank you so much. Go ahead, Liz.
Yeah, the opportunities there for people that want to take advantage of it. And so, we appreciate the creativity and the imagination of authors. We know, we've had different authors on, but we really like that you shared your story of how you write in your own language and your own kind of shorthand, and then pass it along. And that you got a team of people. Y'all also have a great illustrator that you work with, and the layout person in addition. And so you got to have these different relationships, don't you, Bobo, to be successful at it and to do. So hopefully now that COVID's kind of going, getting a lesser, impact on us, we're beginning to get out again. I'm hoping that y'all are going to be able to get out there in Hawaii and sell more books and share those stories with children, because I know that's what makes your heart sing, is when you get to have kids around you and they reading your book and you can see them trying to smile and chasing the butterflies and looking at the clouds and telling you kind of what they're seeing, because we don't do that enough either. We need to go out and lay in the grass and look up at the sky, don't we, Bobo?
Yes, that's true. I want to say one more thing before I forget. I want to thank you, both of you, first of all, and I want to thank my wife, because she's a wonderful, intelligent woman. She knows everything a lot better than I do. I'd say, I'm gonna write you a book. You can do whatever you want. So I'm grateful for that. Very happy to be associated with her, to know her, to love her. It's wonderful.
Yeah,
thank you so much.
So y'all have a great partnership. So it's BoboLinMedia.com. So you can check them out. There's some videos there that Bobo kind of talking about the books and talking about his life. And And there's Linda and them. They also have their 2 sassy seniors, and we'll put all of this in the show notes, so you'll be able to go back and look at the show notes and find them. But for sure, go and check out his books on Amazon. All of the 4 books we just talked about are there on Amazon. You can order those today. They're in ebook or paperback format, either one. If you order through the website, they might autograph those for you and send them to you. Because that's another fun thing, isn't it, Bobo? Is just, signing your name. Just signing your name on the book. I got mine in today. So yesterday ours came in. So this is our little book on Cleo. Oh, I'm gonna knock everything off. But I kind of just been showing the front picture, but we've actually got the book today. So they came in yesterday. We got these wonderful illustrations. There's Charles, our man on the this way. Charles, our great grandson that's coming along, and he does some stuff with us on our Wild West Diversity. But pictures of Cleo when he was in the service, and there's just nothing like having, when he was a little boy riding his stick horse. There's nothing like having it and hold it in your hand and going, this is my book. And then when somebody wants you to sign your name and they bought it, there's no greater feeling in the world. So I'm so pleased for you and your 4 books, and we look forward to the other books. I know you got some other children's books, and I'm thinking you'll probably get back on those once you get this memoir done. But yeah, I know Linda's standing there with cracking the whip, making you finish those memoirs first.
My back from the whip, that's anyway, I'm going to tell you one more thing. That's a book written in Montenegrin language, and
that's right. So you've got you've got 5 y'all got 5 countries, don't you? So they've been translated. So this is another thing that you can do with your books. You can have your books translated into other languages.
I got a Serbian, Montenegrin. That's pretty much the same thing. Got a Croatian, stuff like that. A little different accent, but could be. You can order it. See, there's all different countries and different areas. So that's
So. And that's a thing. That's a thing we haven't talked about before. So thank you so much for sharing that, because you can translate into different languages. Amazon has multiple platforms. They have, they have French and German and Spanish and Japanese, and they just have all kinds of different platforms. And their Amazon stores all over the world. So. A lot of times they sell those English versions of the book in those different places. So a lot of times your book is going to get sold on these platforms. If there's somebody in France that sees the book or knows somebody, like we've got people in Canada and Australia, and we have some people in Europe. Obviously, you've got family in Europe. So when you say, hey, I've got a new book, they can go to Amazon and buy that book. And they can buy an English version, or now, because you have that in some of the bookstores there, they can buy that copy in their own language. So that's just really great, and it's just another revenue stream. Sure. I mean, it's like audiobooks. That's why we do ebooks and paperbacks. You also can do hardbacks. You can still do that, although a lot of times we're doing paperbacks now, just because of the printing costs and stuff like that. And when you're shipping too, they're just, it just costs you less to ship a paperback than a hardback because it's based on weight. So, but all of those things are available. You can do animation. We had an animated version on with Dr. Kathleen Walls. You can do audiobooks. Those are kind of the next steps for you. But if you're just starting out, just start with the ebook and a paperback. You can do 3 or 4 a series like Bobo's done here, and you can take those books to number 1, and then Amazon begins to promote them a little bit. And so we just appreciate you, Bobo. If there's one last thing you want to say to encourage, because a lot of our people are new writers. They want to write a book, but they're just not sure what to do next. What would you tell them to do? What would be your best advice?
Anything when you're writing, just write what's in your mind. You always can correct it when you put on a paper. And when you're thinking about something and you're not there, write it down on something, a piece of paper, so when you get home, you can combine what the idea come to you. A lot of times I tell her the same thing. I think about, she said, talk on the phone. So sometimes I talk on the phone. So I memorize that stuff and put it in my paper, stuff like that. So this is something new. What I never have that kind of stuff, but I learned reading books or stuff like that. I read about writing and rewriting and stuff like that. So that's good stuff. One more thing I like to say that then next year the books was gonna be in a hardcover, be reprint and everything gonna be done. And my boss waving my head or they say, "Good boy." So,
Well, we'll have to have you guys back and talk
Yeah,
about
we
your
can.
next adventure. So
Thank
really
you.
appreciate you there.
All
I'm gonna-
right.
next time when we come in Texas, we come to see you guys again. I'm looking forward.
All right.
right.
And Russ is usually in Phoenix, but he's here in Texas right now. But we'll go out there and see him in Phoenix when y'all come.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
All
Take
right.
care.
Well, thanks so much. This has been Liz Lawless and Russ Johns with the Author Adventure, the 5 Secrets to Publishing Success, the Art and Business of Publishing. We'll hear every Tuesday at 5 p.m. So thanks so much for joining us today. And we'll be here again next week. So come back and hear the next great interview with a wonderful author. Have a great day. Bye-bye.
Take care, everyone.